The New Green Economy Coalition is a group of organisations calling for the G20 nations to secure a visionary deal on climate change.
The coalition includes a diversity of different organisations. The International Trade Union Confederation are in there, WWF, the International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN. There are individual businesses and research organisations. Oxfam are interested in joining, the Consumers International, a whole diversity of different players.
In its open letter, the group warns that the G20 nations are failing to match their rhetoric with action and are delaying the transition to sustainable development.
Essentially, this coalition is coming together and saying we have to think differently about the way in which we use environmental resources and also the way in which we make environmental resources available to people who are poor, people who are rich. So it's saying attention to our environment is a critical factor in making our economy more resilient to change. So we would essentially say climate change is a symptom of not addressing environmental factors in how our economy functions. We can already see the results of that in terms of climate volatility, projections of the impacts of climate change. We can apply that logic to other environmental resources as well and say we need to pay more attention to our use of soils, to forest diversity, to water. All of these things have a similar capacity to create major problems for us in future unless we deal with them properly now.
The coalition calls on the G20 group to honour aid commitments and provide new funds for developing nations to shift to sustainable development policies.
I think we can see major drivers of change in a number of different areas at the moment which are coming together and creating real volatility, potentially major problems. So we've talked about climate change, the impacts that that's already having and the projections for its further impacts and uncertainties it will create. I think we have to look at economic change. Rapid, the crisis over the last year or so just demonstrates how fragile the economic model that we have is, and we can't assume that just by the fixes that governments have put in place over the last 6 to 9 months, the problem's gone away. I think we also have to look at rapid political change, the dramatic rise in power, scope, influence of China, of India, and other emerging economies is changing the dynamic politically on the global scale. All of these things come together and I think create great volatility, but they also create great opportunity for significant change for the better, where maybe previously we were locked into approaches, assumptions, ways of working. There's now real scope for rethinking the way in which our economy, our society functions, which I think we need to explore very seriously over the coming few years.
The coalition says the upcoming Copenhagen summit will provide a unique opportunity to refocus the world economy by investing in green sectors for a fairer and more sustainable future.